Ladies, let's have a real conversation today. Because I know some of you are tired of wasting your time, tired of the games, and tired of dealing with men who seem great at first, but later show you their true colors. See, not all red flags are obvious. Some are subtle, and if you ignore them, they can cost you your peace, your joy, and even your heart. If a man constantly makes jokes at your expense and calls it just playing, that is not something to overlook. A lot of times people dismiss this behavior as harmless teasing, but it's deeper than that. It's a subtle way of testing boundaries and seeing how much disrespect you are willing to tolerate. Pay attention to how he talks to you, especially in public. If his jokes make you feel uncomfortable, embarrassed, or belittled, that is not love. It's manipulation wrapped in humor. A man who truly values you will make you laugh, but not at the cost of your self-esteem. It often starts small. Maybe he makes a comment about how you take too long to get ready, and you brush it off because it seems normal. Then, over time, those jokes get more personal. He might joke about your intelligence, your body, your career, or even your past experiences. And when you express that it bothers you, he flips it on you saying you're too sensitive or that you can't take a joke. That response alone is a red flag because it dismisses your feelings instead of acknowledging them. The problem with this type of behavior is that it gradually erodes your confidence. At first, you may laugh along, but deep down, it starts affecting how you see yourself. You might even begin to second guess your own reactions, wondering if you're overreacting. But let's be clear, your feelings are valid. A joke is supposed to be funny for both people, not just one. If he is the only one laughing while you feel hurt or disrespected, that is not humor, it's control. Men who use this tactic are often testing your tolerance for mistreatment. If you let the small jokes slide, he may push further. Over time, his words may become sharper and the way he talks to you may shift from playful to outright dismissive. What started as a lighthearted joke about your habits may turn into him undermining your achievements, disregarding your opinions, or making you feel inferior. And because he framed it as humor from the beginning, you may struggle to call it out for what it is. Another thing to watch for is how he reacts when other people make similar jokes about you. If he allows his friends or family to join in on the teasing without standing up for you, that is another major sign of disrespect. A man who truly values you will not allow anyone, including himself, to make you feel small. He will uplift you, protect your dignity, and make sure you always feel safe in his presence, physically, emotionally, and verbally. This behavior can also be a sign of deeper insecurities within him. Some men use humor as a defense mechanism to mask their own self-doubt. By putting you down, even in a joking manner, they feel a sense of power, but that is not the kind of dynamic a healthy relationship should have. A relationship should be a place of mutual respect, where both people feel valued and heard. If you feel like you constantly have to defend yourself or prove that your feelings are justified, that is a serious problem. When a man is overly charming too soon, it can feel flattering, exciting, and even like a fairy tale. He showers you with compliments, calls you beautiful every chance he gets, and makes you feel like the most special woman in the world. He tells you he's never met anyone like you, that he sees a future with you, and that he's never felt this way before. In the moment, it can feel like fate, like you finally found someone who truly values and appreciates you. But slow down and take a closer look, because this kind of intense charm early on can be a major red flag. True connection takes time to build. Love, trust, and emotional depth don't happen overnight. When a man comes in too strong too fast, it's not always genuine. It can be a tactic to lower your guard. This is known as love bombing, a form of emotional manipulation where someone overwhelms you with attention and affection in the beginning to create a false sense of security. The goal is to get you emotionally attached quickly so that once the behavior shifts, you're already invested in the relationship. One of the biggest signs of this is when his words and actions don't align. He may talk about how much he values honesty, loyalty, and trust, yet you barely know anything real about him. He asks a lot of questions about you, but when you try to learn more about him, he gives vague or surface level answers. He makes big promises about the future, saying things like, I can see myself marrying you, or we're meant to be together, yet it's only been a few weeks. The intensity can feel like passion, but in reality, it's a distraction from deeper compatibility. Another red flag to watch for is how he reacts when you try to slow things down. If he respects your boundaries, that's a good sign. But if he becomes impatient, tries to guilt trip you, or makes you feel bad for not moving as fast as he wants, that is a warning. A healthy man who truly cares about you will want to build something real, not rush you into something that feels forced. Over-the-top charm can also be a way of hiding flaws. By keeping you focused on the excitement of the moment, he avoids showing you his true self. Everything feels perfect because he's controlling the pace of the relationship. But the moment you challenge him, express your needs, or stop feeding into the fantasy, the energy shifts. He may pull away, become distant, or even turn cold. This sudden change can leave you confused, wondering what you did wrong. But the truth is, the charm was never about you. It was about control. Genuine relationships grow at a natural pace. They are built on mutual understanding, shared experiences, and emotional depth. A man who truly wants something real will be consistent over time, not just in the beginning. If someone is rushing the emotional process, it's important to take a step back and ask yourself why. When a man avoids deep conversations, it may not seem like a major issue at first. In the early stages, it can even feel normal. You talk about lighthearted topics, share laughs, and keep things fun and easy. But as time goes on, you start to notice a pattern. Every time you try to talk about something meaningful, your feelings, your goals, your concerns, she either changes the subject, makes a joke, or dismisses it altogether. It might not feel like a big deal right away, but over time, this can create a major disconnect in the relationship. A man who avoids deep conversations often does so because he is emotionally unavailable. He may not want to open up about his past, his struggles, or his feelings because it makes him uncomfortable. Maybe he never learned how to express himself in a healthy way, or maybe he simply doesn't want to. Either way, it means that you will always be the one carrying the emotional weight of the relationship. You will find yourself wanting more and more connection, more understanding, more depth, but hitting a wall every time you try to get there. Another sign of this behavior is when he keeps everything surface level. He may be able to talk for hours about sports, work, or entertainment, but when it comes to real emotions, he shuts down. If you ask about his childhood, he gives short answers. If you try to discuss his future, he keeps it vague. If you express your feelings about something important, he either brushes it off or tells you not to overthink it. This can leave you feeling unheard, unseen, and even questioning whether he truly cares about you. Men who avoid deep conversations often struggle with vulnerability. Opening up requires trust and emotional maturity. And if he isn't willing to do that, it may indicate that he is not ready for a serious relationship. A real connection requires two people who are willing to share their thoughts, feelings, and experiences with one another. Without that, the relationship remains at a standstill, lacking the emotional depth needed to grow into something real. Another issue with this behavior is that it prevents conflict resolution. Every relationship will have disagreements, but if a man refuses to engage in deep conversations, that means important issues never get addressed. Instead of working through problems, he may shut down, ignore them, or act like nothing happened. This creates a cycle where unresolved issues keep piling up, leading to frustration and resentment. A relationship cannot thrive if one person refuses to communicate on a meaningful level. Emotional intimacy is just as important as physical attraction and compatibility. If you are with a man who consistently avoids meaningful discussions, you may find yourself feeling lonely even when you are in a relationship. It is important to pay attention to whether he is truly present in the conversations that matter most. A man who values you will want to know your thoughts, understand your emotions, and create a space where both of you feel heard. When a man constantly talks negatively about all his exes, it may seem like he's just venting or being honest about his past relationships. At first, it might even feel reassuring to hear that he believes you are different, that you are better than the women he's been with before. But over time, this pattern of conversation reveals something deeper. If every woman from his past was crazy, toxic, or the problem, then the real issue may not have been Thamit, may have been him. A mature man takes accountability for his role in past relationships. He understands that breakups are rarely one-sided and that both people contribute to the success or failure of a relationship. If he never admits any fault, never acknowledges any lessons he's learned, and only blames his exes, that is a sign of emotional immaturity. It suggests that he has not taken the time to reflect on his own behavior, which means he is likely to repeat the same mistakes with you. Another concerning factor is how he describes these past relationships. If he speaks with bitterness, resentment, or anger, that means he is still emotionally tied to his past. A man who has truly moved on does not carry that level of negativity. He may acknowledge that the relationship was not healthy, but he will not dwell on it, constantly bring it up, or use it as a way to gain sympathy. If he is still talking about an ex in a hostile way, it suggests that he is not fully healed and that baggage may spill over into your relationship. Pay attention to the details of his stories. If he claims that every woman he was with cheated on him, used him, or mistreated him, that could be a manipulation tactic. Some men paint themselves as the victim in every situation to gain your trust and make you feel sorry for them. They want you to see them as someone who has been hurt. So you will be more willing to prove that you are different. This can lead to an unhealthy dynamic where you feel pressure to overcompensate for the pain he claims to have endured, even if you have done nothing wrong. Another red flag is how he reacts if you challenge his narrative. If you ask what role he played in the breakup and he becomes defensive, dismissive, or irritated, that is a sign that he is not willing to take responsibility for his actions. A man who cannot own up to his mistakes is likely to repeat them. If he refuses to acknowledge any wrongdoing in his past, he will likely do the same in your relationship, making it difficult to resolve conflicts in a healthy way. How a man speaks about his exes is a reflection of his emotional maturity, his level of self-awareness, and his ability to handle relationships in a healthy way. If he constantly degrades the women from his past, it is only a matter of time before he speaks about you in the same way. When a man is only consistent when he wants something, it can be easy to overlook at first. In the beginning, he seems engaged, interested, and attentive. He texts you regularly, calls to check in, and makes plans with you. Everything feels good, and you start to believe he is genuinely invested. But then, over time, you notice a pattern. His effort isn't steady, it comes in waves. He disappears for days or even weeks only to suddenly return with sweet words and extra affection. And when he does, it's often because he needs something from you. This inconsistency can show up in different ways. Sometimes it's emotional. He may be distant and unavailable until he needs comfort, reassurance, or validation. The moment he feels down, stressed, or alone, he suddenly reaches out and wants to talk. But once he gets what he needs, he pulls away again. Other times, it's physical. He may disappear and then reappear only when he wants intimacy, acting extra loving and charming right before making his move. And in some cases, his financial or situationality may come around when he needs a favor, help with something, or even money. One of the most frustrating parts of this behavior is that it creates an emotional roller coaster. When he's attentive and present, you feel special and valued. But when he pulls away, you're left wondering what went wrong. You may even start blaming yourself, thinking maybe you said something wrong or weren't giving enough. The truth is, it has nothing to do with you. This pattern isn't about love or connection. It's about convenience. He puts in effort when it benefits him, not because he truly wants to build something real with you. Another red flag is that when he does come back around, he often acts like nothing happened. There's no apology, no explanation, just a casual, hey, how have you been? As if he never went missing. And if you bring up his inconsistency, he might downplay it or make excuses. He might say he was busy or going through something, but if this behavior repeats itself, those excuses lose their meaning. A man who truly cares will make time for you, no matter what he has going on. It's important to recognize that consistency is a sign of genuine interest and emotional maturity. A man who truly values you won't only show up when it's convenient for him. He won't leave you questioning where you stand or wondering when he'll reach out again. He will make an effort to be present in your life in a steady, reliable way. A healthy relationship is built on trust, and trust cannot grow when someone's presence in your life is unpredictable. If a man only gives you attention when he wants something, but disappears when you need him, that is not a relationship. It's a pattern of self-serving behavior disguised as love. When a man gets defensive every time you express your feelings, it's a major red flag. Communication is the foundation of any healthy relationship. And if he shuts down, deflects, or turns the conversation back on you, whenever you bring up something important, it means he is unwilling to take accountability or consider your perspective. At first, it may seem like he just doesn't like conflict, but over time, it becomes clear that any conversation that requires emotional maturity makes him uncomfortable. One of the biggest signs of this behavior is when he immediately tries to invalidate your emotions. Instead of listening, he might say, "You're overreacting, you're too sensitive," or "Why are you making a big deal out of this?" These kinds of responses are not about resolving the issue, they are about shutting it down. A man who values you will want to understand why you feel the way you do, not dismiss your concerns as if they don't matter. Another way defensiveness shows up is through blame shifting. Instead of taking responsibility for his actions, he turns it around on you. If you express that something he did hurt you, he might say, "Well, if you hadn't done this, I wouldn't have reacted that way." Or, "You're the one making this an issue." This tactic makes you feel like you're the problem for even bringing it up, causing you to second guess yourself. Over time, this can create a dynamic where you avoid expressing your feelings altogether because you know it will only lead to an argument or make you feel unheard. Sometimes defensiveness comes in the form of shutting down completely. Instead of arguing, he may withdraw, give you the silent treatment, or refuse to engage in the conversation at all. This can be just as damaging because it leaves you feeling isolated in the relationship. You're left with unresolved emotions while he continues as if nothing happened. Healthy communication requires both people to engage even when the conversation is uncomfortable. If he refuses to talk through issues, the relationship will never grow. Another pattern to look for is when he turns every discussion into a personal attack. Instead of addressing the issue, he makes it about you being needy, dramatic, or always complaining. This is a tactic to make you feel guilty for having feelings in the first place. In reality, wanting to be heard and understood in a relationship is not asking for too much. If he constantly makes you feel like you are wrong for expressing yourself, That is emotional manipulation. A man who is truly invested in a relationship will create a safe space for open and honest communication. He will listen even if he doesn't agree, and he will try to understand your perspective. Relationships require teamwork, and if one person refuses to engage in meaningful conversations, it creates a dynamic where only one person's emotions are prioritized. If he is always defensive, it means he is more focused on protecting his ego than on building a strong and healthy relationship. When a man never makes an effort to truly get to know you, it's a sign that he is not genuinely invested in the relationship. In the beginning, things might feel exciting. He may ask a few questions about your life, your job, or your interests, but as time goes on, you start to notice that the effort stops there. He doesn't ask about your childhood, your dreams, or the things that matter most to you. He never remembers the little details you've shared, and when you bring them up again, it feels like he's hearing them for the first time. A man who is truly interested in you want to understand who you are beyond the surface. He will pay attention to the things that make you smile, the challenges you face, and the goals you are working toward. He will remember your favorite foods, the way your voice changes when you're passionate about something, and the things that bring you comfort when you're having a bad day. When someone genuinely cares, they make the effort to connect on a deeper level, not just when it benefits them, but because they want to know you for who you are. One of the biggest signs of this issue is that conversations with him feel one-sided. He may talk a lot about himself, his work, his interests, his past experiences, but when it's your turn to share, he either listens absentmindedly or quickly shifts the focus back to himself. He might nod along as you speak, but when you bring up the same topic later, he has no recollection of it. This can leave you feeling unimportant, as if you are just there to fill space in his life rather than being someone he truly values. Another way this behavior shows up is in the way he interacts with your world. If he is genuinely invested, he will take an interest in your friends, your family, and the things that bring you joy. He will ask about your day, support your ambitions, and celebrate your accomplishments with you. But if he never makes an effort to integrate into your life, or if he seems uninterested in the things that matter to you, that is a sign that he is not emotionally present in the relationship. This lack of effort can also lead to feelings of loneliness. Even when you're with him, you may start to feel like you are in a relationship by yourself, constantly giving but not receiving the same level of energy in return. You might find yourself questioning whether he actually cares or if he is just keeping you around for convenience. Over time, this dynamic can create resentment because everyone deserves to be with someone who values them enough to make an effort. A man who truly wants to be with you will take the time to learn about you on a deeper level. He will ask meaningful questions, remember the things that matter to you, and show you through his actions that you are important. If he never makes the effort, it's not because he is too busy or forgetful, it's because he simply doesn't care enough to try. Ladies, I need you to hear mirrored flags are there for a reason. They are warnings, and too many women see them but make excuses, hoping things will change. But let me tell you something. A man's true character is shown in his actions, not in his potential. So if you recognize any of these signs, don't ignore them. Your peace, your happiness, and your heart are too valuable to waste on a man who doesn't deserve them. Stay strong, trust your intuition, and never settle for less than the love you truly deserve.